My name is Kayla Ward. I went from ministry and the church to finally living my truth as a trans woman who is going to try out for the WNBA. And this is that story. I honestly don't remember the first time I picked up a basketball, but I do remember having one of those little tight goals, those plastic ones, and my mom would go out there and shoot around with me. I was probably like three or four. And I remember getting that first point where I was like, would run up and dunk on it, and I broke it and landed on my head. But that didn't deter me. Like, I loved it. I was so excited that I was able to do that. From there, I would sneak away into the inner city when I was young as 7, and I would play basketball. And it's just where I would go. Every day I was down, every day that the thoughts wouldn't leave my mind of how I felt inside. My earliest memories of really feeling like I wasn't this boy as everybody said I was when I was around 5 or 6. I remember in particular, it's probably a little graphic, but going to take a bath one day and just really not liking what was on my body. And I really wanted to take a knife and cut it off. It was just something that was telling me that this wasn't right. And as I got older and I was around more people, especially other girls, I was like, that's supposed to be me. And it wasn't necessarily playing with dolls or the dresses, because I'm still not very girly. I'm not very feminine. I don't wear a lot of makeup. I'd rather be on a basketball court. So it's hard to say what moment was really that trigger. It was just a feeling inside that told me who I was. It was difficult, feeling like you didn't belong or fit in. So it's a lot about putting on a front. I was an amazing actor for 30 years, especially as a kid, because kids are very intuitive. They pick up on things, which is why I really push so hard to sports. It's hard to really pinpoint something different about a jock. I guess how I related was just through sports and then eventually through religion. I joined a youth group at church, found new friends, and every time the doors to the church were open, I was there. I was involved in every activity, every Bible study, just looking for answers. I found myself really praying hard for the feelings I had internally to go away. I felt a sense of belonging that I'd never felt before with the church and the family that I had. So I decided I wanted to give my life over and make that a career. Went to a Baptist college to pursue youth ministry or mission work. While I was doing this mission work, I did find somebody that I fell in love with. They became my best friend, and I thought, this is just God's direction. Everything's going according to plan. I'm gonna be this wonderful husband, I'll eventually be a father, and it'll all work out. We were together for 10 years, married for 7. The last 3 years of the marriage kind of started to fall apart. There was this division between my wife and I. I was kind of dressing on the side and trying to come to terms with myself and finding community online. She would almost catch me every time, and I would lie about it. So I remember her asking for a divorce, and it broke me. We were Christian, we were married, just till death do you part. We weren't supposed to get divorced. So I begged her to stay. I said, we'll try counseling, whatever. She said it's not gonna happen. When she moved out, it's kind of when it really hit. I was done, I really was. I didn't want to put anybody else through what I felt like I put her through. I didn't feel my parents would accept or understand. So I thought, what else do I have to lose? I might as well just end it. So I had a bottle of pills that I was just gonna down. It was night and the house was dark, and I was just crying. My face was in my hands and in my pillow, and I was scared to do it, but I was ready. And my cats, they would never be near each other, but they both, in that moment, were climbing up on my lap, trying to push my hands away. They were licking the tears, one on each side. And it made it even harder because I was so ready. But I didn't want to lose my babies. Their attention and love to me is what really kind of kept me here. Not feeling alone was probably the most important part. I threw the bottle of pills away, and it was the next day that I started seeing a gender therapist. I started hormones and began living my truth. I called my dad, crying, and really scared because he always called me his bud and told me how proud he was of me, and I didn't want to lose that. And he assured me that he loved me no matter what. I was his kid, and that when I remarried one day, he would walk me down the aisle. So that was reassuring. It really helped move me forward. Now, when I called my mom, completely different story. She was pissed. So we had an argument. I told her if she couldn't use the right pronouns or call me by the right name or even just say my child, that I wouldn't be able to talk to her. I'd have to kind of cut that out. And so we didn't talk for 2 years. And it wasn't until I visited again where she introduced me to her coworkers as her daughter. So it took some time, and I learned a lot through that sometimes we're not the only ones transitioning. Those around us, our friends and our family, are going through the same thing. It's a shock to them, and they kind of have to come along the journey with you, and it's not always going to be smooth sailing. I lost a lot of the friends initially that were connected to me and my ex-wife. We did go to a Baptist college together, so everybody really disagreed with who I am. My views of the church now are completely different. I still have this personal faith. The church today is problematic, and stepping away from it allowed me to see that more. They're completely missing the point. The Bible specifically talks a lot about love, and most people have no idea what that really means or how to provide that to other people. It took a little time to come out at work, but I was actually surprised. A lot of people were very accepting and supportive and pushed me a lot to break out of my comfort zone and stop being so shy and nervous. Moved to Dallas, Texas for a few years and met a lot of amazing people, which that turn led to LA because I really wanted to pursue my passion. In 2021, I want to try out for the WNBA. So unfortunately, a lot of leagues don't have guidelines that allow trans people to play. However, the International Olympic Committee does have a policy. If you are a trans woman, you have to be living in your true gender for at least a year. You have to be on HRT, hormone replacement, for at least a year. And you have to test consistently for 12 months at a testosterone level of 10 or below. They are changing that testosterone level to 5 or below because cisgender women usually range between 1 and 2. Some can produce higher. So for those who consistently say that it's not an even playing field when, say, a trans woman joins a cis woman's league. I transitioned 7 years ago. I don't produce testosterone. I lost a lot of muscle mass, so if I were to compete against men now, especially on a professional level, I would just get demolished and thrown around the court like a rag doll. When it comes to trans people in sports, it honestly breaks down to almost a case-by-case scenario because there are requirements of living in your gender for a year and having been on HRT for a year. So as long as those things are in place, I would say trans people should be allowed to play the sport of their choosing in the gender that matches their identity. I have no problems hearing opposing views because it's important, it's a dialogue. Sports is about community, it's about connecting, it's about not feeling isolated and alone. It provides this sense of belonging. And so everywhere from little kids all the way up to adults, we need that. If I'm honest, I have a better chance of winning the lottery while being struck by lightning. And I say that not because of my skill level, but I'm 37, so by the time I try out, I'll be 39, so not exactly young. And I've blown out a knee, I've damaged my back, I've had concussions. So my body may not let me play, but it's not the only goal I have. If I don't get to make it, if I can create the policy that allows other people to follow their dreams, that's a win. When I grew up, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have social media, there was no trans representation on TV. For as long as I could remember, I felt like there was just something wrong with me. I was a freak. So now, seeing so many people living their lives out and proud, that means everything. I have people all over, probably more or less the Midwest and the South, who reach out, who understand my story because they're married or they're in a relationship, they're in the church, they have kids, and they feel trapped. So I get to help provide that vision of what life can be if they just allow themselves to be. For me, life is just beautiful when you aren't having to hide who you are. So I can say the biggest difference between before and now is I'm free. If I could talk to my younger self, I would tell that little kid that it's okay. You may not understand everything now. You may feel afraid and alone, but I promise you, you're not. Life can be beautiful. It can be worth living. You can make friends. You don't have to be alone. And you'd be surprised at how many people will actually accept you and love you as who you are. So you have to let go of that self-hate because you think it's gonna come from people outside, and it's not going to. Not the way you think. Most of that comes from yourself, so you have to let that go. Breathe, and let yourself be.